Picture this. A long, polished mahogany conference table gleams under the sterile fluorescent lights of my uncle's law office. It's set up like a corporate courtroom, a tribunal ready to pass judgment. I step into the room, my footsteps echoing faintly on the hardwood floor, and there they are, my entire family, arranged in what can only be described as an intervention formation. My uncle Marcus sits at the head, his posture rigid, like a judge presiding over a high-stakes trial. My parents, Elena and Carlos, flank him on either side, their expressions heavy with concern, like prosecutors ready to make their case. My cousins, David and Maria, sit in a neat row, their faces a mix of pity and skepticism, serving as the jury in this familial inquisition. I'm Isabella Torres, 28 years old, and to them, I'm the family disappointment. Not because of scandal or failure in the traditional sense, but because I dared to forge my own path. Instead of following the well-trodden family road into law, medicine, or finance, I chose to build a tech company, Quantum Dynamics. To them, it's a risky, foolish venture, a childish dream I'm chasing while the real world waits for me to grow up. They don't call me Isabella anymore at their polished social gatherings. No, I'm our niece who's having some struggles, the one who's turned her back on tradition to chase a pipe dream. Uncle Marcus clears his throat, his deep voice cutting through the tense silence. Isabella, thank you for coming, he says, gesturing to the single chair positioned directly across from the assembled group. It's a power move, deliberate and unmistakable, placing me in the defendant's seat. His corner office looms large, all glass and steel, a towering monument to the success he's built with the family law firm. The city skyline stretches out beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, a reminder of the world they believe I'm failing to conquer. I settle into the chair, my casual jeans and hoodie a stark contrast to their tailored suits and pressed dresses. My phone sits face up on the table beside me, volume turned up as always, ready for the business calls that never stop. In just 3 hours, I have a critical board meeting with my investors. In 6 hours, the biggest announcement of my career will go live, a moment that will redefine everything. But to them, my relaxed attire screams crisis, a sign I'm spiraling into failure. We asked you here because we're deeply concerned. My mother, Elena, begins, her perfectly manicured hands folded tightly, as if she's delivering devastating news. We're worried about your startup, about your future, about these risky decisions you've been making. My father, Carlos, nods gravely from his seat, his eyes heavy with disappointment. Mija, we've been patient, he says softly. We understood you needed to explore this tech phase. But it's time to face reality. Tech phase? The words sting, reducing my life's work to a fleeting whim. Quantum Dynamics, the artificial intelligence company I founded 4 years ago, isn't a phase. It's a revolution in machine learning, quietly powering breakthroughs for 3 of the world's largest tech corporations. But to them, I'm just playing entrepreneur, burning through savings while working from coffee shops, chasing a dream destined to crash. My cousin David leans forward, his Harvard law ring glinting in the afternoon light, a symbol of the prestige he wears like armor. The numbers don't lie, Isabella, he says, his tone clipped and authoritative. Small tech startups have a 90% failure rate. It's not personal, it's just statistics. Maria, fresh from her MBA program, chimes in, her voice dripping with the confidence of someone who's memorized every market trend. The market is saturated, she adds. AI companies are a dime a dozen now. Without serious backing or connections, it's nearly impossible to break through. If only they knew. Quantum Dynamics isn't some garage startup built on hype and hope. We've revolutionized machine learning, securing 47 patents that are already reshaping industries. Our algorithms don't just compete in the market, they create it. But to them, artificial intelligence means chatbots and gimmicks, not the cutting-edge technology I've poured my heart and soul into. They see my unconventional work style, coding in coffee shops, driving my old Prius, and assume I'm scraping by, not building an empire. Uncle Marcus stands, assuming his courtroom stance, his voice booming with the authority of a man used to winning arguments. We've arranged this meeting because tough love is sometimes necessary, he declares. Your startup is clearly failing, and it's time to cut your losses. The irony is almost laughable, but the pain of their assumptions cuts too deep for humor. This family, so proud of its logic and evidence-based decisions, has never bothered to research what I actually do. They see me decline their job offers, entry-level clerk positions, hospital administration roles, and assume I'm desperate, not determined. Uncle Marcus continues, his tone softening but still patronizing. I've spoken to Judge Harrison about a clerk position, he says. It's entry-level, but it's a foot in the door, real legal experience with real prospects. My Aunt Carmen nods enthusiastically, her voice warm but misguided. My hospital always needs administrators, Isabella, she says. Healthcare is stable, not like these risky tech ventures. Stable. The word hangs in the air like an accusation. My phone lies silent on the table, but I know in exactly 17 minutes, everything will change. The Forbes announcement is scheduled for 3:47 p.m. Pacific Time, and the advanced copy is already sitting in journalists' inboxes worldwide. My family thinks they're saving me, but they're about to learn just how wrong they are. We're here because your startup is clearly failing, Uncle Marcus says with the finality of a court verdict. It's time for tough love, Isabella. Time to accept that not everyone is cut out for entrepreneurship. My parents exchange meaningful looks, and my mother dabs at her eyes with a tissue she's clearly prepared in advance. We've discussed this as a family, my father says gently. We're prepared to help you transition back to a stable career path. We'll even cover your apartment for a few months while you get back on your feet. Back on my feet? I bite back a smile, thinking of the $847 million in venture funding sitting in quantum dynamics accounts, not to mention the acquisition offers I've been declining for the past 6 months. Microsoft, Google, Apple, Tesla, they've all come knocking, with Tesla's latest offer at $4.7 billion for a 60% stake. But to my family, I'm one step away from destitution. The room grows heavier with their assumptions, but then my phone rings, the sharp tones slicing through the tension like a blade. Every head turns to the device vibrating against the mahogany table. I glance at the caller ID and allow myself a small smile. Right on schedule. Excuse me, I say politely, I should take this. Uncle Marcus protests, his voice sharp. Isabella, we're in the middle of a serious conversation. I meet his gaze calmly. So am I reply, answering the call and putting it on speaker. This is Isabella Torres, I say, my voice steady. Miss Torres, this is Jennifer Walsh from Forbes magazine. The voice fills the room with crystal clarity. I'm calling with the most exciting news. Congratulations, you've made the Forbes Billionaire list for 2024. The room goes dead silent. Every face freezes in identical expressions of shock. Uncle Marcus's mouth falls open, my mother's tissue flutters to the floor, and David's Harvard ring clinks against his water glass as his hand trembles. Based on our independent valuation of quantum dynamics and your personal holdings, Jennifer continues, oblivious to the drama unfolding, we've assessed your net worth at $3.2 billion, making you the youngest Latina billionaire in American history. I watch my family's faces cycle through confusion, disbelief, and slowly dawning comprehension. The story goes live in 15 minutes, Jennifer adds. We've already received calls from 3 major networks requesting interviews. Your assistant said to coordinate through you directly. Thank you, Jennifer, I say calmly. I'll have my PR team send over the official photos and background materials within the hour. Wonderful, she replies. And Miss Torres, our readers are particularly excited about the exclusive on your AI breakthrough. The applications for autonomous vehicles alone could reshape entire industries. The technology speaks for itself, I say, watching Uncle Marcus grip his desk as if the world has tilted beneath him. I appreciate Forbes recognizing its potential. We'll speak soon about the cover story feature. Congratulations again, Miss Torres. This is extraordinary. I end the call and look around the table at their stunned faces. Sorry about that, I say conversationally. You were saying something about my failing startup? Uncle Marcus opens and closes his mouth several times before finding his voice. Billionaire list. 3.2 billion, he stammers. I nod. That's based on Friday's valuation. The acquisition offers I've been fielding could push it considerably higher. My mother's hands fly to her throat. Acquisition offers, she whispers. I pull out my phone and scroll through my emails, reading aloud. Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Tesla have all submitted formal proposals in the past month. Tesla's offer alone was $4.7 billion for a 60% stake. David's Harvard confidence has evaporated. But you work from coffee shops, he stutters. You drive that old Prius. I work from coffee shops because I prefer the energy to sterile corporate offices, I explain. I drive a Prius because it's environmentally responsible and gets excellent gas mileage. I stand, straightening my jeans and hoodie. I also happen to own the building that houses 3 of those coffee shops, plus a portfolio of renewable energy investments worth approximately $400 million. The silence stretches, heavy and unbroken, until Maria finds her voice. The market analysis, she says weakly. I said AI startups were failing. Some are, I agree. The ones built on hype without substance. But quantum dynamics holds 47 patents on machine learning algorithms that will power the next generation of autonomous systems. Our technology doesn't just predict market trends, it creates them. Uncle Marcus slumps back in his chair, his authority deflating like a punctured balloon. Isabella, we had no idea, he admits. No, you didn't, I say, walking to his floor-to-ceiling windows, gazing out at the city's skyline that will soon include buildings powered by my technology. You saw a young woman working unconventionally and assumed failure. You heard startup and thought risky venture instead of revolutionary technology. My phone buzzes with a text from my assistant. 3 more interview requests, including one from 60 Minutes and a call from the mayor's office about an economic development council position. I show them the message. The mayor wants me to head the city's technology initiative, I say. Something about attracting more innovation to the region. My father finds his voice first. Mija, we were just trying to help. Help. I turn to face them. You staged an intervention without researching my company. You offered me entry-level positions while I was building billion-dollar technology. You assumed failure based on appearance rather than evidence. Aunt Carmen speaks up hesitantly. But you never told us how successful you were. Would you have believed me? I ask. Or would you have assumed I was delusional? I sit back down, facing the tribunal that's now an audience. Besides, I thought actions spoke louder than words. Apparently, I was wrong. My phone rings again, and the caller ID shows Goldman Sachs. I answer, putting it on speaker. Isabella Torres speaking, I say. Miss Torres, this is Patrick Chin from Goldman Sachs Private Wealth Management, the voice says. We've been following the Forbes announcement, and we'd like to discuss managing your portfolio transition. With holdings of this magnitude, you'll need specialized strategies for tax optimization and investment diversification. Thank you, Patrick, I reply. Have my assistant schedule something for next week. We'll need to discuss the foundation planning as well. Absolutely, he says. Congratulations on this remarkable achievement, Miss Torres. We look forward to working with you. I end the call and look at my family. Foundation planning, I explain. I'm establishing the Torres Innovation Foundation to fund STEM education for underrepresented students. The initial endowment will be $200 million. The number hits them like a physical blow. Maria sways in her chair. $200 million, she whispers. Education has always been important to this family, I say simply. Now I can do something meaningful about it. Uncle Marcus leans forward, his eyes gleaming with the look of a lawyer preparing to negotiate. Isabella, clearly we misunderstood your situation, he says. But now that we know what you've built, we should discuss how the family can support you. Support? I raise an eyebrow. Like offering me clerk positions and hospital administration jobs? He has the grace to look embarrassed. We could be helpful in other ways, he says. Legal counsel, financial planning, family connections. I have excellent legal counsel, thank you, I say. Kravitz, Swain & Moore handles my corporate work, and I have specialized IP attorneys for the patent portfolio. I stand, gathering my things. As for family connections, I'm building my own network, based on innovation, not tradition. My phone buzzes again. This time, I glance at the screen and decline the call. Sorry, that was 60 minutes, I say casually. I'll call them back later. The way I dismiss a call from one of America's most prestigious news programs seems to finally drive home the magnitude of what they've missed. Isabella, my mother says softly, what happens now with us? I look around the table at the people who raised me, guided me, and underestimated me so completely. Now we learn what family really means, I say quietly. Not people who assume the worst when they don't understand. Not people who offer help they think you need instead of asking what you've actually built. But people who support each other based on love, not judgment. David speaks up hesitantly. How do we do that? I smile for the first time since entering the room. You could start by asking about my work, what quantum dynamics actually does, what problems we're solving, what impact we're having on the world. And we could stop assuming you need our guidance, Uncle Marcus adds, a hint of humility in his voice. That would be refreshing, I say, walking toward the door. I pause, turning back. By the way, the judge position and hospital administration job? I appreciate the thought, but I'm a bit busy reshaping the global technology landscape. As I reach for the door handle, my phone rings one more time. The caller ID makes me smile. This should be interesting, I say, putting the call on speaker. Isabella, this is the President's Science Advisor, the voice says. We've been following your work with artificial intelligence applications for climate modeling. The President would like to discuss appointing you to the National Science Foundation Board. Are you available for a call with the White House tomorrow? I look back at my family's stunned faces. Let me check my calendar and get back to you, I say. I might have some time between the Forbes photo shoot and the Senate subcommittee hearing on AI regulation. Perfect, the advisor replies. We'll coordinate with your staff. Congratulations on the remarkable recognition, Miss Torres. The country needs innovators like you in leadership positions. I end the call, and the silence stretches for a full minute. Finally, Uncle Marcus speaks. Senate subcommittee? They want my input on regulating artificial intelligence development, I explain. Apparently, when you hold patents that could reshape multiple industries, lawmakers want to understand the implications. I open the door, then turn back one last time. Sunday dinner at Mom and Dad's house this week? I ask. My mother nods eagerly. Of course, Mija. Good, I say. But no more interventions. No more assumptions. Just family dinner where we talk about what we're actually doing with our lives. Isabella, my father calls after me, his voice thick with emotion. We're proud of you. We should have said that first. I smile genuinely. Thank you, Dad. That means more than you know. Fast forward 6 months, and I'm sitting in the executive conference room of Quantum Dynamics' new headquarters, a gleaming tower that's become a landmark in the city's skyline. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I can see construction beginning on the Torres Innovation Center, a collaboration between my foundation and the local university to foster the next generation of innovators. My assistant knocks on the door. Your family is here for the board meeting, she says. I look up from the acquisition proposal I've been reviewing. Tesla has upped their offer to $6.2 billion, but I'm leaning toward a partnership model, more impact, more control, and frankly, more fun. Send them in, I say. Uncle Marcus enters first, carrying a legal briefcase, but looking far less authoritative than he did 6 months ago. David and Maria follow, both now part of my legal and strategy teams, respectively. My parents bring up the rear, grinning like proud parents at a graduation ceremony. How are the preparations going? My mother asks, settling into the chair beside me. The Senate hearing went well, I say. 3 committees want to adopt our regulatory framework recommendations. I pull up the news coverage on the conference room screen. And the foundation awarded its first round of scholarships yesterday, 200 students starting STEM programs this fall. David leans forward, genuine interest in his eyes. What about the autonomous vehicle partnership? Signed this morning, I reply. Tesla, Ford, and Toyota are licensing our core algorithms. The first fully autonomous cars should hit the market within 18 months. Maria smiles. The market analysis I did 6 months ago aged well, didn't it? Like milk, I say, laughing. But you've learned to research industries before analyzing them. Uncle Marcus opens his briefcase and pulls out a thick contract. The foundation bylaws are ready for your review, he says. I have to say, creating a legal framework for $500 million in annual giving is incredibly complex, but worth it. My father adds, his voice filled with pride, when I see those scholarship recipients, I understand why you built all this. My phone buzzes with a familiar notification, a Forbes alert about the 40 under 40 list I've apparently made. I show them the screen. Number 1, my mother reads, her voice swelling with pride. Our daughter, number 1 on the Forbes 40 under 40. Our niece, Uncle Marcus corrects with a smile. The one who was clearly failing 6 months ago. I stand, walking to the window that offers a panoramic view of the city I'm helping to transform. You know what I learned from that intervention? I ask. What? Maria replies. That sometimes the best business strategy is letting people underestimate you, I say. It gives you space to work without interference. But family is different. Family should see your potential, even when you can't see it yourself. Sometimes, Uncle Marcus says quietly, family needs to learn that success comes in forms they never imagined. My phone rings again, and the caller ID shows the Nobel Committee. I look at my family's expectant faces and smile. Should I put this one on speaker too? The unanimous yes that echoes through the room tells me everything I need to know about how much has changed since that intervention 6 months ago. Some lessons are best taught with Forbes lists and perfectly timed phone calls. But the most important lesson is that real family doesn't just celebrate your success, they learn to recognize it in the first place. The greatest victory isn't proving people wrong about you. It's teaching them to see you clearly and watching them become genuinely proud of what they discover. As I answer the call from Stockholm, I realize that the failing startup my family tried to save was actually saving them, teaching them that love isn't about controlling someone's choices, but about trusting their vision, even when you can't see where it leads. The billionaire list is nice, but having a family that finally understands what I've built? That's priceless. Please feel free to comment below if you liked this. Remember to like and subscribers for more.